Hey everyone, so I decided to do the controversial parenting tag, and I tag everyone else who hasn't done it and that wants to. I saw a few other of the YouTube mommies do it, so I decided that I would also like to do it. So I'm going to share some of my views and such, and just because I believe in these doesn't mean that I think less or more of you if you have different parenting choices than I do, but this is my parenting philosophies, and I hope that you respect whether you agree or disagree with the things that I'm going to discuss. One is pro-life versus pro-choice. I am definitely pro-choice. I don't think more or less of you if you don't believe in that. For me, pro-choice is something that I believe in for other people, and I think that it should be every man and woman's decision whether or not they are going to have their child. I know there's unforeseeable circumstances such as rape and things like that I definitely would want the choice in being able to do that, and I think that every person should be able to make the decision for themselves. I definitely do believe in baby wearing. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I definitely plan on doing it when my baby is born, and I think it's a great thing for moms to be able to do. The other one is circumcision. Now, I don't have a boy. I haven't really researched this a lot and in depth like I know like some people have. I would say right now, without having researched any of it, I definitely probably would choose circumcision, and that's just my personal choice. If you have chosen differently, that's fine. It doesn't matter to me. But personally, I think that if I did have a little boy, that I would choose circumcision with him. But if that opportunity arose, then I would definitely be researching it a lot more and make sure that that is the right choice for myself and my family. Is adoption, and adoption is something that I definitely believe in. I plan on one day actually adopting myself. I don't know from where, and I don't really know how I want to do it, but I had friends when I was little that were adopted, and I just thought it was a really cool thing to do, and there's so many kids out there that don't have homes, and to be able to help a child that doesn't have a family and bring them into your own and love them would be awesome. And I also wouldn't mind doing foster parenting either. I just think that a lot of kids are born into unfortunate circumstances which they cannot control, and we as adults and parents can bring them in and help give them a loving and caring place to grow up. So let's see, baby piercing. I'm not really like for or against it. Cute, but at the same time, I think that it's something that is more enjoyable for when they're older and when they can ask for their ears to be pierced, because it's something more of like a milestone that they get to come to when they're older and they choose to want to have their ears pierced, and I definitely would take them when they wanted to do it. I just think that it's something that's better for when they're a little bit older and can choose to do it themselves and understand what they're doing and be able to clean it themselves and do the whole process themselves. So I'm not really for or against it, but that's what I would do with my daughter. Breast milk and formula, I'm 100% breast milk on this one. I think that the positives of breastfeeding are endless, and it's so beneficial for you and the baby. And I'm not against formula, but I think that every woman should at least try to breastfeed first, and if you can't, then formula is a great option to have as backup, and I'm glad that there is formula for those people that need it. But I definitely am 100% breastfeeding, and I'm going to be doing it myself, and I think that it's great for everyone that does do it. I don't really agree with people that just decide to automatically formula feed. I think that you should at least try breastfeeding, but if you're not able to, then it's great that we do have formula. Spanking, I'm 100% against. I do not believe in spanking. I believe I was never spanked when I was little. My husband was not spanked when he was younger, and I just think that there's other ways that you can deal with situations. When I was younger and needed to be disciplined, my mom would talk to me about things, and we would sit down and have a conversation and discuss other possibilities of how I could handle situations and things like that. I don't see spanking as a positive outcome, and I almost think that it's teaching a child that it's okay to hit when you're angry and when someone does something that you don't approve of, and I just don't agree with it. I don't think it has a lot of beneficial outcomes. I'm a child development major, and I've studied this, corporal punishment, in my classes, and all of like the big research, the academic educational research, all suggests that spanking is just not as beneficial as some people would like to believe. Yes, there's situations where it's I don't want to say necessary, but that it works with some families, but for my family that is not something that I'm okay with, and it will not be practiced in my house. For discipline, I plan on talking out with my child what they've done, why it was wrong, different possibilities as I was raised, and also when they're really little, I don't object to timeouts and things like that. But spanking is just something that's not for my family, and I don't believe that other people should spank either. But if you do, that's fine. That is for you to decide, and that's your parenting decision. But for me, I don't believe in it. Co-sleeping. Okay. So I don't disagree with co-sleeping. I think that it's fine for some people. I would co-sleep, but with that being said, I don't plan on co-sleeping. I really don't want to get in the habit of doing that. I want my bed to be for my husband and I want to have my child used to being able to fall asleep on their own and sleeping by themselves, and having that just be a routine for us. I'm not saying I will never co-sleep, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just don't want to get in the habit of that, and I want to establish the child being on their own. When they're first born, I plan on having them next to me in a bassinet, and then later in their own crib and bed and so forth and so on. But I just don't plan on trying to co-sleep as a decision. If it happens, it happens, but it's not something that I plan on doing. So, homeschool, public school, and charter school. This is a big one for me because I'm a teacher and I'm in education. I definitely do not plan on homeschooling my children. I just have seen a lot of homeschooled kids throughout the education system, and while they can still get a really good education, it's just not something that I really want for my family. I do think that it is important, and I can see the beneficial side of having them at home so they can still be more of kids and go out and do exercisey type of things and not having to sit in the classroom all the time. But with that being said, I just don't believe in all around everything. I just don't believe in the whole aspect of it, and there's a lot of things that I do disagree with. And I think as a teacher that it's important to be inside of the classroom and have those social interactions and just learn the daily procedures of living in our world. And I understand parents wanting to shelter their kids, and that's some of the reasons that they also choose homeschool. But I am not a sheltering type of parent, and I want my kids to have experiences and learn how to deal with those experiences and not keep them from them. So I definitely do not plan on homeschooling. Charter school, some of them are okay, some of them aren't. You really have to do your research in finding a good charter school, so that's a possibility that I would do, but it's not something that I'm going to go out and try and find per se. So public school I definitely would do, depending on the area that I live in. I went to public schools my entire life, and I'm currently attending a private university, so I've kind of seen both aspects, even though I know university is a little bit different than elementary schools. I don't see anything wrong with public schools. I understand some people's fears of public schools, but for me and my situation and raising my kids, I definitely would put them into a public school. And private school would also be a big consideration because I love going to a private university, and I think it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to like learn about God and also be in education and surround yourself with people of those values. So private school is also something that I would consider. My kids definitely will have the vaccinations. Also being a child development major, I've heavily researched autism and things like that, and I don't believe that vaccinations cause those things. And I do think that it's important to have kids vaccinated, especially when you're sending them to public and private schools when they're with other kids. And I believe that when kids aren't vaccinated, that it's a greater chance to inflict diseases and illnesses onto other children, which I would not want. And I just think it's a healthy choice. I was vaccinated, my parents were vaccinated, people are vaccinated all over the world, and they're perfectly fine. So the only thing that I have heard of that I don't agree with is that they do a lot of the vaccinations at one time. They just like inflict the kids with all the vaccinations within a short amount of time. And I would want the vaccination spread out a little bit more, so that way it wasn't all happening like week after week. But my kids definitely will be vaccinated. I just might spread it out a little bit more. Medicating children. I am a big believer that medication is needed. However, I am not big into medication myself. For example, when I have headaches and just different things like that, I won't take medication. I like to have it go away on its own. And so I would definitely enforce that on my kids. I don't think that it's okay to take medication for everything. Some things can go away by themselves, such as colds and things like that. However, there are situations when medicine is needed, it makes you feel better, and things like antibiotics and such do make you feel better. If you're talking medication for like ADHD, being a teacher once again, I would put my kids on it as long as a licensed person said that they believed that this is the condition that my son or daughter had, and it helps them concentrate more in the classroom and overall be better students, and education is definitely something that myself and my family value. Cloth diapers versus disposable diapers. I am going to be using disposable diapers. I don't disagree with cloth diapers. I just, however, know myself and I probably wouldn't be able to keep up with it. And it's just something that seems like more messy, and I don't know. I guess maybe because I haven't really been exposed to it, I'm not that comfortable with it. But disposable diapers are definitely what I'm going to be doing. I've heard in situations, too, where people say cloth diapers are way less expensive, and then people say it's pretty similar. So, I mean, I haven't done a lot of research on that, but I'm definitely going to be using disposable diapers. And lastly, the cry it out method. I do not believe in the cry it out method. I believe that your child should be cuddled and held and everything else when they're trying to sleep. And I know for myself, I try and think of it in terms of if I was a child, and I personally would not want to sit inside of a crib or a bassinet and just sit there and cry until I sleep. That's not something I enjoy, and so I'm not going to have my kids do that. When I was younger, my parents never did that to me. If I had a hard time sleeping, I was loved and held and cuddled, and that's how I fell asleep. And I was put on a routine, and it worked fine for me. I don't believe in the cry it out method. If you do it with your family, that's perfectly fine. It's your child. I'm not saying anything bad about you. But I personally do not believe in the cry it out method. I believe that there's lots of different options to choose before you even come close to the cry it out method. I almost find it a little bit, I don't want to say cruel, but sad for the child. And I feel like it's almost like a lazy way of not wanting to sit there and deal with your child crying to get them to go to sleep. So for me, the cry it out method is not going to be an option. I will not do it with my child. I guess that's it. Like I said, everything that I talked about is my personal opinions. If you do something differently, then it's your choice, your child. I have my baby being born to me for a reason, and your child is with you for a reason. So everyone has different parenting choices, and I hope that you can respect all of my views, and I guess that's it. Like I said, I tag whoever else wants to do this, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye!